Hey, everybody. Julie and Michelle here. We are here to talk about one of the most gross things I think I saw, Michelle, over the weekend when
Mhm.
Americans were lining up at food banks, when people's premiums are about to go up exponentially for their health care, when federal workers were missing paychecks, when so many of them were laid off. America's oligarchy was partying, Michelle, and they were partying with the Kardashians.
Yeah. You know, my feeling about all of this is, you know, there's nothing wrong with celebrating. There's nothing wrong with having a birthday party. There's nothing wrong with being with your friends. But these are some of the richest, most powerful people in the world. And the display of excess in the faces of the people. And listen, the people who buy their shit are regular Americans. Regular Americans have made these people very, very wealthy. And they surround each other with themselves. Jeff Bezos and his wife threw the party, paid for the whole thing, held it at their estate. Um, and the thing about it that grosses me out more than just like the obvious cast of characters of like gross people is Oprah, Gail King, um, Sarah Paulson. I mean, there were some people there that I was like, "Are you for real? Are you for real?" There was also a bunch of like, they had a sponsorship thing, of course, with like Dunkin' Donuts or something, and I think it's in the state of Massachusetts. In the state of
America runs on
Massachusetts.
Chris.
I'm sorry, what?
That's what it said. America runs on Chris, the Dunkin' Donuts. Like America runs on Kris Jenner. Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Mm.
Well, I saw the Dunkin' Donuts thing, and to that, I thought to myself, well, okay, Dunkin' Donuts, I think, is the biggest employer in the state of Massachusetts that has their employees on public assistance. Like, this is end stage capitalism, guys. This is it. This is it.
Yeah, and listen, God bless. Like I've never seen one episode of their TV show. I've never watched it. What I resent, having never watched it for the last 20 years, is that I know their names. I know the names of all of their children. I know the names of all of their baby daddies. I know all of their stuff, despite the fact that I have never once tuned into that show, which just underscores how much they're in America's zeitgeist. Now, I will say this. I tremendously respect Kris Jenner for the businesswoman that she is. She's an incredible
For sure.
businesswoman. Her kids most of them seem to have a very strong work ethic. I respect, I know this is, I'm not even being sarcastic. I respect that Kim Kardashian was able to parlay a sex tape into $1 billion empire. Um, and I think that's all great. What I think is gross is that you had Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez hosting this party. Jeff Bezos runs a company where they are
Mhm.
not just laying people off, but people are so broke that they have no choice but to be on assistance, some of these people. And especially at a time like this when everything costs more and more and more and more, and inflation is through the roof, they
Mhm.
are hosting this incredible over the top party. And again, I don't mind that it's like a Hollywood thing. What I mind
Yeah,
because
like whatever. You know what I
what
mean? It's just
not
this is
what
on another level. This is just on another
I
level.
guess what I don't like is the in your faceness of it. Have a party for your rich friends. Do it quietly to the extent that you can. And
Mhm.
that's that. Like, I don't mind that they had a party. What I mind is the timing of this party and just the complete and utter disconnect between their lives and how they even think about their lives and the
Yeah.
lives of the people to whom they market their stuff. Because
Yeah.
while Kim Kardashian does stuff, I believe for Balenciaga or somebody, what she does do, as you said, which is a very high end brand, what
It's
she
a
also does,
problematic brand, yes. But
problematic
yes.
brand, but it's a high end brand.
Mhm.
And that's fine. If she just stuck to high end brands, that's fine. But that's not
Mhm.
what she peddles her stuff, Skims and other things,
Right.
to people who are truly suffering right now. Amazon,
Mhm.
you guys peddle your stuff to everybody, including people who are literally on like bread lines at the moment.
Yeah,
And Jay-Z and Beyonce, same goes for you.
exactly.
Harry and Meghan Markle, who were at this party, who want to pretend that they're some sort of like philanthropist, I don't know what, but are hanging out with the Kardashians. I mean, like how the mighty have fallen. Like, this is the truth about all these people. If I were a guest at that party, I would have gone out of my way not to be in any photographs.
Oh
I
yeah.
just would have. And I would have asked not to have my photographs posted because the disconnect is insane. I'm not suggesting, listen, we all get it. We all get that they're billionaires. We all get that everybody in that room combined, that was probably the wealthiest room in the world, minus Elon
Mhm.
Musk, unless he's also there.
Easily. I'm actually surprised he wasn't there, but I think he's toxic soup even for them.
Yeah,
So
maybe. I'm surprised I wouldn't see any photos.
maybe
Now, interesting, were Jared and Ivanka there? We didn't see any photographs of them
they
because
might have
Jared
been.
because Jared and Ivanka are now very good friends with the Kardashians. That's,
Of
when
course.
Jared and Ivanka
Well,
got kicked out of New York society, they had no choice but to go reality TV.
and one of the first kind of like social appearances after the fact, there was a very public kind of like lunch or dinner or something
In Beverly
with,
Hills.
yeah, in Beverly Hills with Ivanka and Kim Kardashian because they were like old friends, like old rich girl friends from like the before times, I think. And because like Kim Kardashian used to work for Paris Hilton, like back in the day before she
Yeah,
was famous, like the whole thing. All
yeah.
these people know each other. And so she needed kind of a boost back into socialite life. And Kim Kardashian has been sort of that pathway for her. At least she was for a short period of time. And that's the other thing about all of this is like the socialite aspect of all of this is just as important to them, and the pleasantries of being welcomed back into polite society. It's
But
it's
it's not
wild.
a polite society, right? Because I think listen, you and I live in New York, and these kinds of parties happen in New York all the time
All the
among
time.
really affluent people.
Mhm.
Sometimes we've been invited to them, Michelle. Like, let's be clear, we are fortunate to live where we live and
Yeah,
sometimes to be around people like that.
yeah.
The
I feel
difference,
uncomfortable, but yes. I'm always just
well,
like, where do I put my hands?
the difference is that it's not in your face. The
Right.
difference is that it's not like flaunting affluence. And I want to be very clear. Neither you nor I have that kind of level of affluence. So I'm not suggesting that we
Oh,
actually have
no. Yeah, no.
that kind of stuff. But the reality is, like, the flaunting of the affluence, all of this stuff is gross. It's gross. And I will tell you, I grew up, I know that we ever talked about this. I, as you know, was very not wealthy. I was pretty poor growing up, but I was a scholarship kid at a private school in New Jersey.
Mm.
And my best friend was somebody who was quite the opposite, very, very, very affluent. She had a house out in the Hamptons. And I used to go out there with her every summer. And she, without disclosing which branch of the Kennedy family it is, was very good friends with a girl who was a Kennedy, somebody of our generation. And I will never forget because I mean, this was so completely outside of the realm of anything I ever knew. But
Mhm.
when the first time I ever saw this girl's mom, who was, well, I mean, you could probably figure it out, but one of JFK's sisters, pick her up. She was driving, I believe, a Honda,
Mm.
and I was shocked. I was floored. I was like, "Oh my God, where's the Rolls Royce? Like, what?"
Right.
And what I
People like
realized,
that don't do
what
that.
I realized is that people like that don't do that. They don't flaunt it. They don't have it in your face. They don't they don't line the Oval Office with fake gold shit. They don't feel the need to gift each other McLarens for their 18th birthdays and then do a whole like brag thing to us
Yeah.
about it, like all the
Yeah.
Kardashians do. They just do, right? They live they don't flaunt it.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's a matter of old money versus new money, because there are certainly people who just made their money this generation or the previous generation. And yet, um, they just know, right? They just know. But
Yeah.
this was so gross and over the top. And again, I wouldn't begrudge it if it weren't for the fact that this was going on while people were really,
Well, that's
really suffering.
and in the shadow of Donald Trump's Halloween Gatsby party,
Yeah.
which was so atrocious. So Meredith, I think her name, right? Meredith Lynch. Meredith Lynch. We follow each other on Instagram. We've DM'd a couple times. She's fantastic. She lives in LA.
Okay.
And she does a lot of these videos. I think I've shown them on one of our shows before. Um, I actually didn't even really know about this Kris Jenner party until I saw her video. So I want to give her props for breaking some of this down. But I would like to just show this really quick because I think she just does. And by the way, I'm going to talk to her and ask if she can come on one of these days and talk to us, because she is totally on the same page as us all the time with this stuff. So here we go. Here's Meredith.
They are all laughing at us. And by they, I mean Kris Jenner and all the other people at her oligarchy-themed birthday party. The fact that Lauren Sanchez Bezos and Jeff Bezos threw this birthday party for Kris Jenner while Tim Kaine was busy climbing out of the mausoleum that he's been living in since 2016 to remind us that he unfortunately exists and unfortunately doesn't give a fuck if you have health insurance. Yeah, Tim Kaine, I don't know how to tell you this, but we forgot you existed. And honestly, who knew? We should have liked it that way because you voted to make my health insurance go up. And he's just one of many disappointments from this weekend. Because yes, also Sarah Paulson and Naomi Watts decided that they also needed to go to the Oligarch throwdown. Naomi Watts, I don't want to ever again see you coming out with your we need to fund menopause better or whatever shit you're peddling, which I think is really just products, because you went to a party with people who are actively working against women. Because here's all of your friendly reminders that the Washington Post, aka Jeff Bezos, refused to endorse a candidate because he didn't want to endorse Kamala because he loves being up Trump's ass. Also, another fan favorite was there, Elsa Marie Collins. I love her because she's one of these ones who's like, the ICE raids are so awful. This is about humanity. That's the name of her nonprofit that works with families separated at the border. That's great. That's good work. I don't understand how you then go to the house of the person who helps Trump do that, funds things like this, hangs out with them, rubs shoulders with him, and then just the next day go back to being hey, I'm going to Costco if anyone wants to Venmo me money. That's something she has done before. Which, great, go bring supplies, etc. But, the fact that you then spend your evenings with all these nightmares kind of makes it null and void. I also love that this birthday party had some type of Dunkin' Donuts partnership, because you guys know one of my fun facts about Dunkin' Donuts, #1 employer in the state of Massachusetts with employees on food assistance. Chloe, I don't know how to tell you this, but people aren't getting food assistance this month, just so we're clear. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't have birthday parties, and I'm not saying that people shouldn't have fun, but it's hard to watch this display of wealth and to see all these people who, tomorrow will get up and post an Instagram story about the state of this country and the SNAP benefits and all this kind of stuff. And the night before, you're sitting next to somebody who could pick up his phone and make a, world-changing phone call. It just, to all the celebrities who were invited and said, you know what? I think I'm going to skip. I don't think it's the best PR move. Congratulations. You made the right move. And Kris, I'll give you this. You look fucking great, but it's also because you're rich.
I enjoy her immensely. I couldn't have said it better myself, honestly. All the things.
All the things. I mean, look, Kris does look great. She looks very good. That plastic surgery is fantastic. Phenomenal.
Yeah, otherworldly. Yeah.
Don't begrudge her. Don't begrudge her the plastic surgery.
I don't. No way.
Don't at all. Don't begrudge her the birthday party. Begrudge the in-your-face flaunting at a really perilous time.
Yeah.
And I have to go back to Harry and Meghan. I'm sorry, because they are people who continuously virtue signal to the rest of us about helping the poor and helping the needy. And I believe that Harry legitimately, this is like his cause. I mean, he's always been doing this. His mother did it. He comes from a family of service. I don't know how entitled one must be to grow up in a family like that. On the other hand, his mother died when he was young, so it's not like it was all wine and roses for him.
Right.
But how do you not? Does he not read? I'm going to put Meghan Markle aside here. Does he not read the newspapers? Like, does he not understand what is happening in this country right now? Did he not get on Saturday night what was going on, where people don't have money for food right now? They don't have food. This president was imposing starvation upon millions of people.
Yeah.
And they're
Actively trying to starve people.
He's showing up, for people from Britain, you'll understand what I'm talking about. He's showing up with right here on his lapel, a red poppy, because today's Veterans Day and called Day of Remembrance in Britain, and they wear poppies. Like, what are you doing? You're showing up to a party with a poppy on in your lapel?
Yikes.
Like, and that's supposed to make it okay? What does the poppy have to do with Saturday night at the Kardashians? I mean, people are not getting fed. They're not getting fed. And there's Khloe Kardashian with a donut in her mouth. Like,
it's all very let them eat cake, except like they're not even, people aren't even allowed to eat cake anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, where's the cake for anybody?
This is how they stormed the Bastille. I mean, this is how women of Paris marched 12 kilometers to Versailles. Because while there was famine in the city, the French nobility was partying it up at Versailles and playing peasant. If you've ever been to the, Petit Trianon in Versailles, Marie Antoinette had a little peasant hut built for herself so that she and her maids of honor could dress up like little peasant girls and pretend to play peasant. And the real peasants were starving. And that is where we are today. These people are pretending, like Harry and Meghan, are pretending to play normal people while normal people are starving. And by the way, have you heard about the Kardashians doing any kind of charity work with all their money?
No. And they certainly, if they're doing it, they do it quietly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it would be the one thing they do quietly.
They don't do anything quietly, which is why
exactly. Because they wouldn't be able to do something like that without getting credit. And it's funny, Julie, we're both married to attorneys, and Joe's like, reading this thing the other night, and he's like, Kim Kardashian, she failed the bar. And I was like, I don't know if you're reading old news or new news, but at one point, yes, she did take the baby bar in California.
No, she just failed it now.
Again?
No. There was the baby bar that allowed her to actually become a lawyer, but then she has to take the California bar to actually be able to practice law.
Okay, I didn't know if this was new news or old news.
It's like very new news. So she failed the real bar, the California bar, which in her defense is apparently the hardest bar exam in the nation.
Sure.
Listen, I respect her for trying to be a lawyer. She never went to college. I respect her for going through what I understand is an incredibly rigorous process to become a lawyer and apprentice herself, which takes 6 or 7 or whatever years to do without a law degree and without a college degree. I think California is one of the very few states, if not the only one, that allows you to do that. That's tough. I respect that. And she took the baby bar and she failed it 3 times, and now she took the real bar and she failed that. And I don't begrudge. I don't begrudge. I actually think that's the most endearing thing about her that I've ever read, is that this woman believes in criminal justice reform to the point where she wants to be a lawyer and advocate for it. I guess she wants to be doing something that her dad did, which was defending OJ, but that's a different story. But I think he also probably had a legal career before that. What I have a problem, I don't have a problem with them. They're not my cup of tea. I don't have a problem with them going to like fashion shows and taking photographs of themselves and hanging out with their celebrity friends and hanging out with Jared and Ivanka. Like, God bless, if that's who you want to, hitch your wagon to. What I don't like, legitimately, just truly cannot stand, is that they're just flaunting this at a very precise moment, and they're doing it at Jeff Bezos's house, who I might add again was married to a woman that has given away a vast majority of her wealth until he hooked up with Lauren Sanchez, and then he went Hollywood, and you see what you see now. And all these people, Harry, Meghan, like, again, I go back to this. Why are you there? What are you doing?
Well, and the other thing about Kim Kardashian that I find sort of fascinating, because she was working with Van Jones a lot, right? In the criminal justice thing. She seemed very interested. She did seem like genuinely empathetic, trying to help people, but she was sort of cherry picking these cases that spoke to her or made her feel bad or whatever that was. But she never really wanted to invest in like any systemic change through policy or legislation or anything like that. It was always like boop, 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 picking people out of, wherever, who, these people deserved clemency or whatever it was, right? They deserved their day in court with better lawyers or whatever. But, it's just, it's always just like what through their lens of how they see the world. It's never like big picture stuff. And that's where it comes down to also with me is just like, do something that's meaningful, not just something that makes you feel good, and I feel like that kind of stuff is just sort of there to make her feel good or them to feel good. I'm like, you have more money than any of us will ever know. We can't even imagine it. And with that kind of wealth comes so much power and so much opportunity to make change. And this is the difference. I mean, they're narcissists, at the end of the day, they're narcissists. And oops, I just turned that on. What I've been trying to find here on my computer, I have this clip here somewhere. There's this guy named Nick Hanauer. Do you know who he is?
No.
He did this TED Talk and with a corresponding article in like 2012. And it was called something like Fellow Plutocrats, They're Coming with Their Pitchforks.
Yep.
And it was a look into the future, knowing what he knows and seeing what he was seeing, that this was coming. And here we are. And it's really one of the more self-aware sort of speeches from a rich person that I've ever seen. Yep. And I recommend everybody to go find it, go watch it, because it's something else. And I really wish more people would do it. And again, like, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk, same thing. What is he doing for people? Nothing. And he has more money than any of us, any of them. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know, Julie.
Either, because it's just, I mean, we don't have to belabor this. I think we spend so much time talking about politics that we keep forgetting sometimes that politics and culture are very similar. And politics actually derives from culture now. And what you're seeing right now is what you saw in other really awful times when there was so much disparity between the haves and the have-nots. There was so much, and there was so much cognitive dissonance where people aren't even remotely, I shouldn't say ashamed, because they shouldn't be ashamed of their wealth. They worked hard for it. To Kris Jenner's credit, she built this all, and so did her kids.
Yeah.
Like, they were born, the Kardashian girls were born on base, but to Kris's credit,
Brentwood. Yeah.
But Kris wasn't, and to her credit, she's a great businesswoman. So I don't begrudge her any of it. What I have an issue with is just having some sort of self-awareness, the wherewithal to say, maybe not everybody lives this way. And maybe we shouldn't flaunt this at a time when
Right.
people truly are not getting their SNAP benefits, at a time when people are laid off, at a time when they can't afford to eat, at a
Right.
time when they can't travel because they don't have
Yeah.
private planes to fly themselves into wherever the hell Lauren Sanchez and Jeff Bezos live. All of it is really bad. All of it is
Yeah.
just, it's not a good look. It's not a good look.
It's not. And we live in a celebrity culture, right? And that's what brought us Donald Trump too. Excuse me. And that there again, to your point, Julie, like the politics and the culture, celebrity, all of it is connected. And we talked about this morning. We're looking at things individually, right? All of these stories in the news, in People magazine, all this stuff, but it's all connected. This is the world that we have built. And these are the people that we have put in charge. And for that reason, we are all suffering. And until we collectively all come together and do something to change this, and I'm talking to us, the regular people, and I'm also talking to the Senate Democrats. I'm talking about Democratic leadership in general. I'm even talking to Republicans because I
Yeah.
know that not every Republican believes all this shit. They don't. They're just cowards.
Yeah.
And it's I want to play this because I actually did find it on my other laptop here. I apologize. This has Seneca Project branding on it because I had made it for one of our shows back earlier this year, but it's like a minute long. And this is part of Nick Hanauer's speech.
Student. I'm not technical at all. I can't write a word of code. Truly, my success is the consequence of spectacular luck, of birth, of circumstance, and of timing. But I am actually pretty good at a couple of things. One, I have an unusually high tolerance for risk. And the other is, I have a good sense, a good intuition about what will happen in the future. And I think that intuition about the future is the essence of good entrepreneurship. So what do I see in our future today, you ask? I see pitchforks, as in angry mobs with pitchforks. Because people like us plutocrats, because while people like us plutocrats are living beyond the dreams of avarice, the other 99% of our fellow citizens are falling farther and farther behind. In 1980, the top 1% of Americans shared about 8% of national wealth, while the bottom 50% of Americans shared 18%. 30 years later, today, the top 1% shares over 20% of national wealth, while the bottom 50% of Americans share 12 or 13. If the trend continues, the top 1% will share over 30% of national wealth in another 30 years, while the bottom 50% of Americans will share just 6. You see,
And I don't know what that figure is right now.
Well, that was 11
It
years
was
ago.
11 years ago. So think about how much worse it is now.
Yeah.
And I would actually love to flag this guy down somewhere and talk to him. I would like to find him maybe once we start our podcast here at Mayday, and have like a long form conversation with him about this stuff, because I just think that these conversations are really important. And again, the self-awareness of the plutocrats. And I remember him talking about something like how his amount of wealth is not really helping the economy. Like he's like, there's only so many pairs of jeans I'm going to buy. Right. But then you've got people who can't even afford one. And I think it's the display. And I think it's just the display in the face of Donald Trump's Gatsby party. And then Laura Ingraham, like you were talking about all the gold all over the Oval Office. I mean, how gaudy and disgusting the whole thing is. I mean, he's redoing the Kennedy Center and he's etched his name into the marble. It's,
You know what? Yes. And the Vortex in the chat just said something that I just want to raise, because you just had such a good point. You said, I'm so tired of my friends being afraid to go outside because they will get stopped and forced to prove their citizenship. And then I'm so tired of my friends feeling like there's open season on them because they are trans.
mm-hmm.
So while these people are flaunting
Yeah.
themselves and their existence, There are little girls hiding under beds in Chicago because ICE is kicking down their doors.
Yeah.
Is what happened in Chicago when those Black Hawks swooped a month ago. There are people who apparently have to prove that they have a vagina before being able to use the ladies' room.
Yep. Nancy
And
Mace.
yes, Nancy Mace. And these people are flaunting themselves without a care in the world. We are living in authoritarian times. And these people are toasting themselves with champagne. And it's gross. It's
It just
gross.
pisses me off. It makes me really mad, quite frankly.
Naomi Watts and Sarah Paulson were there because they were in that movie with Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, I know. And I saw that what's his face, Ryan Murphy and all them were there.
Well,
But
I get it. It's like it's a business. For a lot of these people, it's a business thing.
I don't know.
But
I would have done something.
but I wouldn't have gone. I would have said, I'm sorry, I have a prior commitment. Like you just, it's not a good look, you guys. Like to the people who actually get it, who still have one foot in the real world, who were at this party, it's just not a good look.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't care if this was a business opportunity. I don't care if you could pick up, contacts that will help you land your next deal. I don't care if you are you wanted to check out what Jeff Bezos' house really looked like. Like, I don't care. Oprah, I don't know what the hell you were doing there because you didn't.
I am so horrified. I mean, because here's the thing: Oprah was at the Bezos wedding, right, in Italy. And Oprah's another one that, like, God bless. She's incredibly talented. She has worked so hard. She deserves, all of her success. She's come from nothing and built herself up to be one of the most influential faces in American media ever. But I am so puzzled by her choices and the people that she surrounds herself with. I don't get it.
Are you? Because I'll tell you something.
I guess I'm naive. I don't know. Like, I'm Pollyanna. I'm just like, I don't want to think these things about it. I mean, I came home from school every day watching Oprah as growing up, and I loved watching her, and I felt like I learned so much. But then again, she brought us Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil and JD Vance and his Hillbilly Elegy. And, so I have to look at it from that perspective also, because
never apologized.
Never apologized. Yeah. And listen, when her people reached it, well, long story short, Seneca Project, our ad American Girl went viral at the end of last election cycle, last year. And it all of a sudden just blew up out of nowhere. We didn't know what the hell was going on. And we found out that, Steve Martin and his wife had seen it, and they had given it to the Spielbergs, and it made its way to Oprah. And so Oprah's people, wanted to play our ad at Kamala Harris's last rally in Philadelphia the night before the election. It was amazing. It was like, even if it didn't end up happening, it was like the best thing that ever happened to me. The fact that Steven Spielberg saw anything that I did. And I love Oprah, and I was so honored. But then on the other side of this, I'm like, she knew what was at stake, right? In our last election. And then on the other side of it, though, she's joining the bad guys. And that's just another arrow pointing in the direction of rich people really just don't care. I think you get to a certain level of wealth that, like, no one else matters anymore.
What Clooney said, right? We'll be okay.
Yeah. And it is for her.
But that's
it always will be.
That's what Clooney said. It'll be okay. Well, for you, George Clooney, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't live in this country anymore. You moved your family out to Provence. That's where he lives. That's where he's raising his kids.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
And his excuse for doing it is, oh, I didn't want my kids being raised in the craziness of Los Angeles because it's not good. I don't want them to be around other celebrities. Maybe. But the real reason is because the Trump administration was potentially going to go
Yeah,
after
like
his
I moved to
wife.
Omaha or something, right? I'm just like,
Oh,
that
yeah,
doesn't
like
make
they
any
were going to go
sense.
after his
Right,
wife because she served on the ICC or did something against Netanyahu, and they were going to
right.
actually prevent her, she's a British national, from entering the United States. I am so glad for George and Amal Clooney that they have the luxury of saying, you know what, we're a little bit threatened, so we're going to move to Provence.
Mhm.
I
And I
wish I
wish they
could do
just
that.
kind of said it. I wish they
Just
just
say it.
said it.
Just say it. You know what? I'm really lucky. I worked my ass off. I'm a billionaire because I have a tequila brand that I just sold for $1 billion. I'm also a big movie
Wait, for
star.
real?
Yeah, he and whatever Sidney Crawford's Sidney
I know
Crawford.
about the tequila brand, but I didn't know that they sold it
They
for
sold it for $1
yeah.
billion. Yeah, whatever. God bless. So don't begrudge. Don't begrudge. Super happy for George Clooney. Great tequila. I'm a tequila fan. I like
No,
Casamigos a lot.
I buy that tequila. I
Um,
bought it for my dad. It tastes very
yeah,
good.
it's a great tequila brand. I guess he's a good actor. It's not my cup of tea, but whatever. Um,
Like I loved you in One Fine Day. Anyways, keep going.
but I will. But so like, I'm happy for him. Really, I truly am. But just say it. Just say like,
Yeah.
I'll be okay. Not we'll be okay. I'll be okay.
And
I'll be
people would have a
okay.
lot more respect for that,
I'll be
honestly.
okay because I have the ability to pick up my children and my wife, who is being threatened by this administration, and move to Provence, where the long
Mhm.
arm of Donald Trump probably can't get me quite yet. Not as quickly as it can get the rest of you. The
Yep.
rest of us who write little substacks trashing Trump are not so lucky, right? We don't have the ability to pick up and move to Provence, even if we wanted to. And believe me, some of us want to. So,
Yep.
let's just be really clear about what's happening here. And it's part and parcel of the same thing with this Kris Jenner oligarch birthday bash.
Mhm.
It's the kind of stuff where you have Republicans talking about how Bernie Sanders is a socialist and Zohran Mamdani is a socialist and they're communists and blah, blah, blah. Well, like, again, I don't necessarily agree with Bernie Sanders and Zohran Mamdani too much on policy, but I'm getting a lot closer to where they are than I used to be.
Correct. I mean, and Pete Buttigieg used to say this on the campaign trail back in 2019, 2020. He's like, they're going to call us socialists anyways, no matter what it is we do. We might as well just do some shit that helps people. Like it's not, you know what I mean? Like they're going to call us all the names.
And speaking of socialists, the biggest socialist of all time is Donald Trump. I mean,
Right.
I'm running the whole
Corporate welfare. I mean, hello.
Not corporate welfare. He's forcing companies like Intel to accept a 10% federal stake in exchange for billions in subsidies.
Yeah.
He secured a golden share in U.S. Steel, meaning Washington gets veto authority over the company's major decisions. He made export licenses for NVIDIA Corporation and Advanced Micro Devices contingent on paying the federal government 15% of Chinese sales revenue. I mean, he launched Trump RX, a federal website through which prescription drug purchases will be routed.
Mm-hmm.
I can go on. I mean, that's pretty socialist to me.
Yeah. And
that's not the kind of socialism that helps people.
No, this is socialism that helps dictators. Right. And Donald Trump. And go on our socials, guys. We have a clip up of Julie the day of the election. It was a week ago today on NBC, calling out this MAGA guy. What's his name?
Gidley or something. Yeah.
I can't remember. I was like Gidley something. Saying, oh, well, he calls himself a communist, Zohran Mamdani. And Julie's like, he calls himself communist? No, he doesn't. Because he doesn't. And like these people just throw words around because nobody really knows what anything means. And they're just these big scary words. And this is all these people do. They're ridiculous. But like listen.
Yeah.
At the end of the day here, and some people in the comments were saying, some of these rich people, they could fund May Day and they could fund the Seneca Project, and I was like, yeah, they could. And I'm going to tell you right now, at the Seneca Project with Tara and I, we have had a hell of a time trying to fund the work that we're doing. I think part of it is because we're small potatoes. I think, well, at least, in comparison to the bigger organizations. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we're two women and we're a women-run organization. Women-run organizations have a harder time getting funding. But on the other side of the 2024 election, we have rich people who are afraid to give to causes because they're afraid that the Trump administration is going to come after them for donating to C4s, to C3s, and 527s. 527 Super PAC. That's what Seneca Project is. And they're all afraid to have their names connected to anything that could be portrayed as anti-Trump or pro-democracy or anything that does not go with the regime's agenda. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be true.
Yeah. So on that note, Michelle, I got to go.
Yeah, you do. Last thing, Heidi asked me about what curling iron I use. She said this is a silly question, but she wanted to know. I use Dry Bar. It's the yellow one because she was saying my curls stay. But I have very, very curly hair. I usually just blow it out every day, so that's why it's straight. But I have very curly hair, so that's why it stays. But that is a good curling iron. It gets very hot. It'll burn your hand. Watch out. But it's good. So I just wanted to answer Heidi's question. So anyways.
All right, everybody. So good to see you all. And we'll see you very soon. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern.
Tomorrow it is. Bye, everybody.